Okay, so this week we talked about David, and I talked to you a little bit about him in our Zoom. But King David is really an interesting guy. He's an amazing man of the Bible. He is considered the man after God's own heart, and I really enjoy learning about David. And then we talked about in Samuel the different things that happened. So in Samuel, they Jesse had 8 sons. Jesse was one of the men in the book of Samuel, and he was a good guy. He was a Jew. He was from the tribe of Judah. They lived in Bethlehem, and he was a shepherd. He had sheep, and he had cattle, and he had different animals that he took care of, and that's how his family made a living. And he had 8 sons, and so his sons were strong and handsome and tall, and David was the youngest of the 8. So Samuel was the prophet, and he was good with Saul, but God was mad at Saul. And so God sent Samuel to Jesse because he knew that Jesse had a son that God wanted Samuel to replace Saul as king. And so God sent Samuel, and Samuel went, and Samuel was scared because he didn't want Saul to kill him. He knew Saul was going to be unhappy that happened. And so Samuel went saying he was going to go and do sacrifices and talk with them. And while he was there, he met Jesse and Jesse's sons. And they're all handsome men. And they all went out in front of Samuel. And God was like, nope. Do you have any other kids? And Jesse was like, well, yeah, I have my youngest son. He's out with the sheep. And Samuel was like, well, can I meet him? And so they sent for David. David came out, and sure enough, that was the one that God wanted to use for the Jews. And so Samuel sent David, and he gave David a blessing, and then he said, things are going to be great for you. And David had a good heart. He was a kind man, and in his heart, he was going to be obedient to what God said. So he did, and God blessed him, and Saul lost the favor with God because he was not being what God wanted. So we did this fun little activity, and this is what I wanted you to do for your Bible activity. It is a decoder. So you're going to cut this out, cut all the red out, and then you're going to attach it with this little brad. And then you're going to use it to solve the puzzle. And it talks about appearances being deceiving. So Samuel looked at David's sons, and his oldest was Eliab, I think, or Eliab or something like that. And he was handsome, and he was tall, and he was strong. And so outwardly, Samuel was like, that's the guy. He's tall and handsome and strong. He must be it. But he wasn't. It was just outwardly. He didn't have the heart that God wanted. And then he went to the next son, who was still very handsome, tall, strong. Nope, not enough. Because God knows your heart. So your heart may be, you may have great thoughts and things like that. But also your heart is very important to God. And he's going to look at your heart. He doesn't care if you are short. He doesn't care if you're tall. He doesn't care if you're round and chubby or skinny, or you have a missing tooth. He doesn't care. He cares about what's inside your heart and how your heart is for him. And so that is what we studied this week with our study of David. We also talked about David and Goliath, and we talked about David being married to Michal, and his best friend was Jonathan, and both of those were children of Saul. And the Bible verse is a friend loves, but a brother is born in the time of adversity. And it's Proverbs 17:17. And so we talked about how even though Jonathan wasn't his born brother, he was still so important to David, and he was still very important to the story of David and how David became the man of God that we all talk about still. So that is your Bible lesson for this week. All right, talk to you on Tuesday. Bye.